looks like we're back, aren't we? Let's have a big cheer. And I'm seeing Bradford there, Leeds for Europe, Yorkshire for Europe, the Lancastrian contingent. It is so lovely to see all of you here again. And I'm back for the company, but his speech, if I must. Let's talk about science, because amidst all the petrol stuff and the food stuff, there's tons of other sectors being hit. So how about this? The Conservative government's Brexit is not working. The vast majority of people know this. The government has lost us £1.5 billion on Horizon 2020 funding alone. And it's this government that says that they champion science and want to attract the best and the brightest. This government, which has also failed to sign up to the Erasmus programme, which shows that they don't care about bringing in the best and the brightest. This is not just limited to Brexit per se. The Conservatives have also cut the overseas development aid budget and the MHRA budget. This all goes to show that this government is certainly not pro-science. Now, AI wrote that. I've got access to the beta development of OpenAI, and I said, turn this into a speech, please, and I just chucked in my jumbled notes. And this is what it produced. This is the future, it's amazing. But, interesting thing is, in my notes, I never mentioned the Conservatives. I never mentioned the Tories. This AI, it knows stuff. It mentioned them like 3 times over. Machine learning, machine angry. Like, I'm having to tone down some of what it's saying here. I'm worried that if I tell it too much more, then it's going to start pestering me late at night saying, Mike, when is the next rally? Mike, I'm angry, Mike. And that's about, I think we're going to see more of this in journalism, actually. Wouldn't it be great if the Daily Express had some AI to help them out? Imagine that influx of knowledge, facts, and logic. You'd absolutely blow the staff away. Get rid of a lot of them. That's what I say. But to come back to science, this is actually what happened. From about, the early 2000s and the FP7 funding programme, right through to Horizon 2020, it was the UK and Germany that were dominating that programme with the ideas, with the leadership, getting the most money, getting the most collaborations. In 2016, we had the Brexit vote, and that had an immediate impact, even though we paid to stay in the programme. So in 2017, we slipped behind Germany. In 2018, we slipped behind Germany and France. In 2019, we slipped behind Germany, France, and Spain. In 2020, we slipped behind Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. We were in 5th place, just above the Netherlands. Just in a few years. And that cost us, relative to what Germany got, 1.5 billion, worth 2,700 collaborative projects, also known as about 30% less than what we would have had if we hadn't Brexited. And what I was saying about the overseas development aid budget, that got cut suddenly by this government that's calling itself Global Britain, but suddenly doesn't like our global collaborations with the world. That hit our research and innovation budget by 5%, but really heavily in some areas, like the Royal Academy of Engineering, which saw its ODA budget cut instantly by 73%, with no backup. Even, and get this is ridiculous, there were even projects on coronavirus tracking down variants in Brazil that got cut by that. And then this government also cuts the MHRA budget. So our MHRA, which we've been saying, look at us, first to approve vaccines in the world, isn't British science great? 300 people then cut from MHRA, 20% of their staff, reason actually being Brexit. Because we've stepped down from our position as a regulator for all of the single market and we're doing a smaller role. Brilliant! So this is the Brexit, whereby we're now meant to take up leaner, meaner roles in regulation. Remember all that burning that we were going to do of this regulation? Well, they put together another working group on this called TIGGER to look into innovations we can make in regulation, found absolutely nothing, and so said, but the point is, it's not slash and burn about regulations. We all like our regulations, but we think that we can regulate better than the EU 27 in the future. And it goes on and on. And as for the brightest and best, you know, we want to attract the brightest and the best. All right, so then we're ditching Erasmus, specifically because there's that part of it which brings in thousands and the brightest and the best from Europe. In Scotland, they've got a new grant called the Saltire Grant, because the European students coming to universities in Scotland has dropped by 41%, so they're spending money plugging in the gap. Is our government? Of course they're not. So absolutely useless. So instead of helping science, they're absolutely putting the boot into science. But to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, Brexit was last decade's decision. This decade, we rebuild with Europe. I thank you very much.